It's been over 200 years since the gold was discovered here.
It was against the law at that time to be Indian.
We're liable to destroy our own rivers and meadows. The same man that put us on reserves and ghettos. The same man that's on those dirty dollar bills that you praise. The same white collar ballers that be treating you like slaves.
Oh, Great Spirit, grandfather, grandmother, thank you for this beautiful red day you've given us, and thank you for our lives. Dayatu Ashte Mitakoyepi. Good evening, my relatives. Welcome to Bay Native Circle here on KPFA and online at kpfa.org. This is Janeen Antoine, your host for this evening, January 29, 2025. Join me in this program with an opening interview with Lenny Foster, spiritual advisor to Leonard Peltier. Lenny will speak of the many years of work and prayer that led to the upcoming release of Leonard Peltier on February 18 after being granted clemency by President Biden after almost 50 years being incarcerated. We will also speak with Tita Newbreast about her counseling work in the Native community with the Native Wellness Institute and her current visit to the Bay Area. On with Bay Native Circle, speaking with Lenny Foster. Hi, Len.
Hello. Yeah,
How are you? Yeah,
I'm good. Yeah.
So I wanted to take this time to call you and talk to you about Leonard, since it's been his freedom is pending and imminent, and I wanted to talk to you about all the work that you've done over the years and what you're feeling right now and any updates that you might want to offer us.
Okay.
Please, can you introduce yourself to our listeners first?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me to your radio show. Tian, hey, strong, that's gone, hey, what's this chance? What by does it say? And they're going, hey, there's another. Hey, put out now before the strong, not, don't I, tell little, is in a shadow, Leonard Peltier, tonight with the snow. I'm laying about the scene, United States Penitentiary, Leavenworth, Kansas, and United States Penitentiary, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, for over 30 years, close to 40 years, from 1985 to 2018. And I was working for the Navajo Nation behavioral health. I was running a program called the Navajo Nation Corrections Project, which allowed me to go to prisons and federal penitentiaries. And I first met Leonard Peltier in Denver, Colorado, 1970. So we've known each other quite a long time, and we were both young and idealistic in our viewpoints towards protecting Indian rights, treaty rights. And I also sundanced with him in Rosebud, South Dakota, at Crow Dog's Paradise, August of 1975. So I know him as a spiritual person. The sweat lodge ceremonies, the pipe ceremonies. And as I said, I started visiting him at the federal penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas for over 20 years. Every 3 months, I made it a point to provide him with spiritual support, participate in the sweat lodge ceremony, and all the other inmates at that facility also participated. It wasn't just only Leonard, it was other Native Americans. Primary Lakotas and Dene. That's the majority of your Native prisoners that are in the United States prison system. And like I said, he took to the Suela. He enjoyed the Suela ceremony, and he had experienced that with Crow Dog also. So Crow Dog was a great teacher for all of us. And Leonard sent word out from Leavenworth for me to come in and conduct the Suela ceremonies. I did. I went to orientation and training to be approved by the Federal Bureau of Prison. You can't just go in there. You got to go through their training, their rules and regulations, the whole orientation process. So I did all that, and I obtained or secured my national background check, what they call NCIC, National Security Check, that's conducted by the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And that was in 1985, and there was no one visiting him. I was the only one for a good 10 years. And Archie Fire, he would come in and we would meet and we'd go in together. We'd arrive at the prison and meet in the lobby. And then we would just talk, and then the chaplain would come and get us, and then we'd go out to the Suelas. And there was a big group there at Leavenworth, and there was Native Americans from all tribes, primary Lakotas and Dene, Navajo. So it was good for. We did that. I did that for 20 years, from 1985 to 2005. Now I would visit him 4 times a year. Springtime, summertime, fall. I would go in January. So it was a real commitment on my part. And Leonard enjoyed it. We got really acquainted. And he was, by that time, he had lost all his appeals. There was no possible remedy left for him for appeal. So we had to rely on our spirituality, our prayers. And we really had our prayers, type ceremonies, our songs. And I encourage all of the Native prisoners to come and support, use the cedar, sweetgrass, mountain tobacco, white sage. And there's one thing about the prison. It's a very dangerous place. You have people in there who could get crazy, and they don't have any hope for release because they're doing maybe life in prison on no parole. So it's a very dangerous place. I always had to watch myself. I was never comfortable. And I went there 20 years, and then he was transferred to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, which is another maximum security facility. Lewisburg, Pennsylvania is near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I used to drive to Albuquerque, New Mexico, catch a plane, and fly to Harrisburg and stop off in Cincinnati, and I would spend a weekend and go see him Saturday and Sunday and sweat with him and the rest of the boys, and it was a good prayer sessions. The cleansing and the purification ceremony was good for everyone. It's real bonding, and you get close to each other. And I became a real acquainted with Leonard, and we would sit and talk before the ceremony. We'd sit and talk by the sweat lodge, and then what was strange to me was the chaplain, who was Anglo, who would come out and check on the group. He'd come over to where Leonard and I would be sitting talking, and he would stand there trying to listen in on what we're talking about. And we encouraged the confidentiality of my clients, because I consider them my patients. I'm there to provide them prayers and spirituality, pray with them, and encourage them, and to learn and to work. So it was a good experience. And like I said, I became acquainted with Leonard, and I come to realize he's a very outstanding painter. He's an artist. And I've seen some of his art. Oh, yeah, they were nice. And in fact, he made arrangement to give me, present me with two paintings. I still have, I got one in my living room here in my home in St. Michael, Arizona, on the Navajo. And also the other one I gave to my daughter. She saw it and wanted it. I gave it to her. I told her that a gift from Leonard Peltier, so take care of it. So she still has that one. They're on canvas, acrylics, very nice. They're maybe 2 feet by 3 feet. They're big ones. They're not little bitty ones. They're big ones, and he's very gifted. He's well read. He reads everything, and we talk about a lot of things. American Indian movement. I went to a big demonstration with him in Wisconsin before he participated in that shootout there in Jumping Bull in Gonzales, South Dakota, and that was in 1975. Let's see, 1970. February 1975, up in Reston, Wisconsin. The Menominee Warrior Society took over abandoned novitiate. They wanted that land back, and so they occupied it. An American Indian movement was called to support that. I went. Leonard was there. A lot of people, Dennis Banks. And I was there for 6 weeks. I was a student at the time, because when I met Leonard, I was a junior in college at Colorado State University. I mentioned I met him in Denver, Colorado. And I was in my third year of college. I eventually graduated from Colorado State University in Fort Collins in 1975. But I continued to make my visits every quarter, every 3 to 4 months, because I made that commitment to him. And I did that for 37 years. From Window Rock, Arizona, drove to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I would jump on the plane and fly to either to Kansas City for Leavenworth facility, or to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to visit him in Lewisburg. And all of that in 2015, he was transferred to Coleman, Florida, another maximum security facility. But at that time, he was attacked by two Indian inmates, as a matter of fact. He was attacked. They were jealous. That wasn't good. So the prison, the Federal Bureau of Prison, transferred him to Pullman, Florida. That's where he's at right now. And my main responsibility was to provide him with the spiritual support, ceremonies, pipe ceremonies, sweat loud ceremonies, smudging ceremonies, and he had some attorneys, and they were working on. I think when the turning point, in my opinion, was when a former United States federal judge named Kevin Sharp decided to take up Leonard's case. He reviewed it, and he had some meetings with the Federal Bureau of Prison, the Justice Department, and he realized, and I talked with him, and he said that case was flawed, a lot of mistakes. The FBI had lied, they harassed and threatened witnesses, wrote false affidavits. Myrtle Portbear is a good example. She had no knowledge of Leonard, but they prepared an affidavit saying that she witnessed, she was there when that shootout happened in Oglala.
Well, before we ran out of time, Lenny, I'm interested in what happens now. I mean, we've kind of gone through a lot of the history of, I mean, you've been with him for many, many years and have probably seen the thousands of calls and letters and actions that have been held on his behalf, and everybody advocating and working and praying for his release. And it's finally here. It's finally happened. And I know on January 20th, I was totally in shock and cried when I first heard the news that he was going to be released. And
the attorney called me.
Where you were.
The attorney called me that morning. I talked to her over the weekend. Just asked how did his chances look for clemency, and she said that it was iffy. She really didn't know. But then Monday morning, around 10 o'clock in the morning, she called me and said he was granted clemency, home arrest, and I was so overjoyed and happy, and I couldn't sit down. I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I was at home alone, and oh boy, it was a happy day. It was a happy. For the next 3-4 days, I was overjoyed and just happy. I called my friend Tony Gonzales in San Francisco and did an interview with the Morning Star Gali, Native America Calling. Boy, it was a good few days there, knowing that Leonard was granted executive clemency. So I appreciate you providing me with an opportunity to say a few words. Thank you. Chat long.
So, I wanted to ask you, once you found out, I mean, all these years that you've been working for his freedom, and you probably know him better than anyone, most people, in terms of the amount of time that you've spent with him over the years. And are you able, or are you hopeful to see him when he's released?
Yes, I'm planning to go up to North Dakota when he gets back up there. I don't think I'll be going to Florida because there's going to be so many people there waiting for him out in the parking lot when he's released Tuesday, February 18th. I want to do that, but there's still a possibility I could do that. I would meet him, and it would be in the parking lot outside the building. We wouldn't. They won't allow us to meet right in the lobby when he comes through the gate there. and he'd have
Well,
to.
you're getting on yourself, correct, in terms of your mobility and your ability to get around.
Well, I was going through some sciatic nerve damage in my back, and I've been going to physical therapy, and I feel a lot better. I can stand and walk again, but um, I'm not as young as I used to be, so I had to be careful. Thank you.
Yeah, none of us are.
Planning to see him. I was hoping to talk with him by telephone, but he hasn't called me. I gave the information to the attorney. She said she was going to tell him, but I know there's a lot of people that are they're staying right there in a hotel right there in Coleman. It's a small community in north of Orlando and Tampa, and there's people camped out or staying at that hotel, and I think they're able to see him, call him. You know, the thing is, you got to be on his visiting list. You got to be on his phone call list. You can't just go in there and say, "I want to see Leonard Peltier." They won't allow that. You got to be
Right.
You got to be on that list. They do background check, and so there are people there from Indian Collective. I know the attorney Jennifer Jones and Kevin Sharp. They've been able to see him often, I believe, and yeah, I'd like to go down there and see him, but I can wait until he gets out. I still might go see him when he gets out the day he's. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of people there, and I'll see him at some point. Maybe just see him in Turtle Mountain. Go up there to Turtle Mountain, and I'm planning to. One of my plans is to fly from Albuquerque to Bismarck, rent a car, and drive over to Turtle Mountain, see him, and spend some time with him. And I think the one thing we want to do is smoke the pipe, the Tanupa, with him and pray with him, give thanks. And I sponsored a blessing way prayer right here in my house last Saturday. I had a Navajo medicine man come here, and we sat on the floor and put some cloth on the floor. He opened his medicine bundle and he did some prayers, and because he was not present, we used a picture. I laid the picture right there next to the pipe and the herbs, and he prayed. The medicine man prayed and sang his songs. It was a Navajo blessing way.
Right.
I'm going to bring him back, and without any harm, and giving thanks to the spirits, the Creator, the blessing to really restore his thinking. It was a trauma, mental health trauma. When he was informed that he was released, I think it was overwhelming. So that was why I sponsored that prayer here, and it was to help restore his thinking. So it was done. We did it. I have complete confidence in my traditional prayers. Like
Well, I know it's going to be an incredible adjustment for him after being incarcerated almost 50 years. Even the simple things in life can be very overwhelming.
Yes.
So, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of people knocking at his door or, wanting to see him, wanting to visit him. So I hope he has time to spend with his family and in reflection. And I think it's good that you're there, too, to help him in terms of ceremony.
Yeah.
To ask for the prayer and maybe the inipi.
I think it's a priority. He wants to he wants to spend time with his grandkids and great grandkids and all the ones he doesn't know. He's been down for 50 years, so and then the home confinement is going to limit his ability to meet everyone because they are very restrictive. They will be restrictive. The federal probation office will monitor him. I'm thinking they might even put a ankle bracelet monitor on him. I don't know. It's going to be difficult. He's got to make an adjustment. We're all pleased and happy our prayers were answered. Because there are so many people that prayed for him and that supported his cause, and a lot of prayers went into Sundance, sweat lodge ceremonies. I myself also sponsored a Native American church prayer service for him here at the reservation in north of Fort Defiance where I live. And I remember we had a real good ceremony which lasts all night. It's like an 8-hour ceremony in the evening in a Native American church, and that's what I belong to. And we used pray with the sacred sacrament, peyote, and tobacco. And it was very, very tough, but it was. We had a good prayer session. The road man, which is the medicine man, the spiritual leader that conducts the service ceremony, was able to see that he will be released. And this was about 5 years ago. So he told me in the morning when the ceremony was completed, he told me that it was a tough case, but he sees Leonard will be released. So I was always confident that was going to happen. And like I said, the last week, I was very anxious. On a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday, I got a call from the attorney around 10 o'clock in the morning. Told me Leonard was free. He was going to be free. He was granted clemency by President Biden. So that was good.
Yeah, that's incredible. We're out of time now, but I wanted to ask if you had any kind of closing words for our listeners, and thank you for coming on.
Well, I just want to thank all the people who always remembered him in their prayers and their gatherings and their sweat lodge, their Sundance. And they always remembered him, and I thank all those Indian people and non-Indian people. We had a lot of supporters too, and it was a good experience for all of us. And I think that it was a really learning experience for all of us. It's just how difficult things can get when you stand up for treaty rights and human rights for indigenous people and Indian people. Indian rights.
It was a very long road.
Yeah.
It was a very long road, and the power of prayer prevailed. And I just want to thank you for the incredible part that you played in encouraging him and offering your prayers of support, Lenny. And I look forward to talking with you again, maybe when you are able to go visit him in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm planning to do that.
All right, we're speaking with Lenny Foster, and he has been the spiritual advisor for Leonard Peltier for many, many, many years. And I want to thank you for coming on today. Mopi Latanka.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No ki ma wish ku ma wish. No ki ma wish ku ma
This is Janeen Antoine for Bay Native Circle, and I am calling this evening and speaking with a longtime character, person, resident, former resident to the Bay Area. I ran into her at Intertribal Friendship House today at lunch and thought it would be great to introduce her to our listeners. I know many of you know her, but some of you don't. So I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce her and find out what she's doing. So I want to give a big welcome to Theda Newbreast, and welcome her to the show and thank her for joining us this evening to talk about her work and what she does.
Thank you, Janine. Well, Oki Sinadapi Nistu Nidaniko Mokoyo Sakoyi. I greet you in my Blackfoot language. Oki means my spirit is really happy to meet your spirit, and Sinadapi just means how are you doing? Nistu means my name is Mokoyo Sakoyi, and it's my second Blackfoot name. Blackfoot women often get a warrior's name, and so mine translates the Milky Way, or Wolf Trail, or Medicine Trail. And I was born and raised in Heartbeat, Montana, 1956. And both of my parents, Monokini Pete Newbreast and Betty Newbreast Cooper, they were under 25 years old, and they brought all five of us kids to the San Francisco Bay Area in 1963. And that was a rude shock, cultural shock for me, because I was at 7.5 years old. I really thought the whole world was Blackfeet. Right. And I didn't know there were other people, but I'm grateful for that learning as I went, because I learned there was all these other tribes. I learned there was Japanese people, Chinese people, that there was African American people. And so the Bay Area, and here, I stand, I'm 69 years old, and I'm at Intertribal Friendship House with Janine and just this room full of elders. And I remembered all their names, and we hugged and we caught up. So I just wanted to share with you, our family was part of the relocation program, which was a federal policy to assimilate Indians in the 50s and the 60s. And so we were part of that program, but it didn't work on us. We eventually, and that's why I'm here this week. I wanted to invite all of you. You are cordially invited to what is called BATE, the Bay Area American Indian Two-Spirit Powwow, on February 1st. But I just finished this session with all of the Native and Indigenous between 18 and 29 years old. We're at the Casa Hotel, and April McGill with the American Indian district over here has invited all of them, and we just finished the session. It was just so cool because I brought 4 eagle feathers that where I live, there's a lot of golden eagles and bald eagles on the Blackfeet Reservation out of Glacier Park. And I brought 4 of the feathers that I found. But we had the young people decide who it should go to and recognize, for the effort, because adults, they just pick their relatives or their kids. And we have to stop some patterns that's more, so we let them pick who the feathers should go to. And then I had one sacred feather that was painted with red ochre, and they chose it to go to TK, so he took it and he chicken danced for me. And that was like really, really special, because chicken dance comes from Siksakatepi, that means Blackfoot Confederacy. And there was protocol to getting those 2 feathers that you danced with that were in your top of your roach. If you ever follow eagles, or you watch eagles, or you live around eagles, when they gorge themselves and they overeat, they can't fly. So they usually perch. They perch where they can digest. And so if you follow them, and when they're perched and they can't fly away, you can throw a blanket over them and pull out 2 of the tail feathers for the chicken dance outfit. that was how, and so for him, it just made me cry. I just finished crying, and I'm coming to you, just sharing some stuff about this week and how it was for us as Black folk to live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So it just made me cry because I had given him a feather that was given to me by Joe Day, an Aboriginal. I've been doing a lot of work in Australia since 2012. And I'm returning Native Wellness. I work with Native Wellness Institute. We're an NGO, which means non-government organization. We don't take any federal funding because when you do that, you have grants. You usually have a white person bossing you around. And so so for him to chicken dance and receive that feather, and he said he's going to dance with it. What that protocol does is he gives me as an elder a long, healthy life. So I just cried. But I wanted to invite everyone. There's the powwow itself is at Fort Mason on Saturday, February 1st. And the next day, you're also invited. I mean, if you go to Facebook or Bates, BAAITS, Bay Area American Indian Two-Spirit, they're also bringing the best of the best international drag queens, and they're divas. They have a luncheon. I think it starts at 11. It's like 11 to 2. If you go to that site, it's even on Facebook. You could find out the location. But what else is going on this week?
So when they're doing that, the drag queens are going to be there on the 1st?
No, on Sunday the 2nd. It's a breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same location.
No, that's what I'm asking. I don't have the exact address with me. I'm just if you go to that site, you'll see all of the events. There's like 7 or 8 events going on.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like on Thursday, they have an opening because they'll honor all their Two-Spirit, and they'll also honor the allies to Two-Spirit that are not homophobic or transphobic. That's on the 30th in the evening. And then there's several other, there's all the mestizas, the ones from South America are having their special Two-Spirit. That's why I'm saying go to that site and you can decide which one you want to go to. There's just several events. Native American Health Center is who brought me out. I've been working for Native American Health Center as a female traditional consultant for about 25 years. I worked with Janet King, and we would do counseling at Richmond Clinic, San Francisco Clinic, and Oakland Clinic. So I'm renewing that contract. That's why I'm here this week. And so for that contract on Capp Street, CAPP, where Aurora Mamea and her staff works, I'll be doing one-on-one sessions. So you can sign up, and my clinical work is with trauma, and so people can see me one-on-one and with the clinicians. And so I'll be doing that in the morning, and then we're having a talking circle from 1 to 3 on Capp Street on the 30th. And then tomorrow there's just activities every day. I don't have it in front of me. That's why I'm saying go to the Facebook site, BAITS, BAAITS. But I'll say something about one of the live creative expressions. A lot of people come to drag shows just to gawk. And it's much more than that. What it is it's allyship. It's freedom of expression. I think Land O'Lakes is coming. Land O'Lakes and Spirit, who is from Fort Hall, they're often the MCs, but they're coming with their newest outfits. And then they also have apprentices, so a lot of their apprentices will be dancing. I think they have about 20 dancers. And so just so you know protocol, and it's to say that you support, bring a lot of $1 bills. Because in order, and you give them, if you like their dance, they'll come and dance to you, and you can either put it in part of their outfit or give it to them in their hand. And so but it's a way to say, express yourself, and there's no judgment. And that's why I say just don't come to gawk. That gawk, just like, look, it's to say that you're you're expressing your gender fluidness. It might be non-binary. So one of the things that you could, in order to be respectful, when you meet someone, ask them, what's their preferred pronouns. And I'm an ally because one of my daughters that I raised was Two-Spirit, and I seen what the bullying and the social media and the judgment, the pain that it caused her. And so I'm always an ally because even in our group tonight, there was some that we had male and female, but they said that they were non-binary, gender fluid, and so you respect that. You don't try to put them in a category. And we just had fun tonight because it was so interesting because they ended up just having a male group get together and a female, and then the non-binary joined the female, and they wrote down the characteristics of a good partner. The young men, theirs was one page with just 10 things, but the women had more than 50.
Oh my goodness!
But it was like things like know how to change a baby's diaper. It was like know how to run the vacuum cleaner. It was like do the dishes. It was like but then there was this one on each of the lists, and the young men they put freaky, but they crossed it out. And then on the women 18 to 29, they said, once you do trust and you build trust with each other, it's good to be a little freaky. And so they were all laughing, and we were all just standing there, and what the focus of it was to have healthier relationships, and nothing was nasty, nothing was a no-no. It was just a dialogue. And I could see there was, several of the people in our session, had 3-year-olds, already had children. And so it was, if they aren't with that person that they made the baby with, how do they have a healthier relationship? So we just had fun. Right now, I stepped out to do this interview, but they're all eating and they're working on a vision board for themselves, for this year and in the future. What are they shooting for with their education? What are they shooting for with some of the goals? We had 3 individuals, and not naming no names. 2 females. One female had 30 days sober, and she just came because she wanted to better herself and she wanted to maintain her sobriety. The other one had over 70 days of sobriety, and they were just like transparent and wanting to do better. And then the young man, I'm quite not sure. I think he might have had like 7 months, but they just self-proclaimed, and they said they came to the session that April McGill and Native American Health Center put on, and I'm the facilitator. But I'm asked to come places because I was on season 2, episode 5 of Reservation Dogs. I'm Priscilla, the character Priscilla, the badass auntie in the women's episode. And so all these young people, they want to be able to talk healthy sexuality, and that's what we did tonight. Just like lay it out there with not just, there was some giggling, some laughing, but it was like how they wanted to have a healthier sexuality, but a healthier relationship. And so that's some of the stuff going on.
You're like Dr. Ruth?
Yes, kind of like an Indian badass auntie, Dr. Ruth.
Yeah, Dr.
No, it was for real because, people want to know what, if sex is painful, what kind of lubricants. I mean, they were dialoguing without judgment. And it was just to educate, but it's also do you want your partner to be faithful? They had a long discussion on what is the definition of being faithful. And that was interesting. So it's a lot of, and it's things like God, Janine, like sometimes, especially if someone, just ate Lay's potato chips and drink, Coca-Cola and gets diabetes, they don't talk about that causes, erectile dysfunction with men. They can't get an erection. Do you want a partner who can't get an erection anymore? Because some people stay with the partner even when they can't get an erection anymore, and then some people get help. So they were having that kind of dialogue to not let it be nasty or to keep it secret, but also to be fulfilled. Because there was a couple of the young women said, you really need to let each woman guide you with their anatomy and what feels good, and then be guided to tell each other what your erogenous zones are. And that saying it, in a dialogue, so that when you are doing it in person with someone that you love, that you make it a good experience. And then, so there was also discussions, because some people had been sexually abused and forced, raped, sexual assault, and they're healing from that. And so they wanted, a partner that they go with to understand that, and to be gentle, and to be open to boundaries. They had a long discussion on boundaries. One of the young women said, one of her boundaries is when she's on her cycle, she just doesn't, she's not interested in doing anything, with her vagina. She just wants to have that space and time. So it was like they talked about sacred time and honoring the boundaries with your partner to, allow that young woman during that time to just keep it real sacred. So that was the kind of conversations I just got out of that talking circle. And
I was just about to say, this is definitely not what you talked about at lunchtime.
No.
With the elders. So I think, I'm like, okay. But, I think it's really important that youth or anybody really has an opportunity to speak frankly about things that are often taboo, that they don't know who to talk to or where, and you're just very straightforward about it, like Dr. Ruth is, and say, this is reality and this is what's happening, and, that they can feel comfortable, sharing their questions, their experiences, what they want to know. Because I don't think I've ever even heard anybody address these issues with youth anywhere. And I think it's important as well that, and I don't know if this is something that you've done with Native communities, to talk about sexual abuse within families and within Native communities, because I think that that's one kind of taboo elephant in the room that nobody ever talks about, which I think we need a lot of healing in that area.
Yeah, Janine, I work with Native Wellness Institute, and I've been doing this for 4 decades.
Yeah.
With people in recovery. But now there's, it's interesting, everybody loves reservation dogs, but it opened the door to do it with humor. Like there was a group of elders way up in northern part of California, 150 elders, and they wanted to talk about healthy sexuality, but there was all this goofiness, and so I told them they needed to make a snag bag. And so they were laughing, and so well, what's supposed to be in the snag bag? And so I said, well, you should have, a toothbrush and toothpaste, because you should have fresh breath. But you should also put some KY jelly. And they were laughing so hard, they said, yeah, we went to Walmart, ordered 150 tubes of KY jelly, and they're looking at these 3 or 4 grandmas. But they went ahead. Okay, so they put these snag bags together in a really nice Indian decorated bag and put snag bag on it. But you know what they also put in there? They said they put in polygrip, because it's really hard when you have false teeth and your teeth fall out when you're making love.
Oh man.
So it's just just that, having the humor. And just having the humor, because Indians, we love to laugh. It's our birthright to thrive and to live joy. And so Indians just like to laugh, but talk about serious things so that they have better lives, and that it isn't nasty or a secret, because that's like boarding school kind of thinking, and residential school. So but today, thank you. I'm part of the Kami Poismanic, and that means owner of a stand-up headdress. It's made out of golden eagle feathers, and there's 200 of us in the Blackfoot Confederacy. I was transferred in 2016, but it's not like a paid job. You get transferred because you've earned it. My mother, she's 86 years old. She was transferred when she was on tribal council. But our duty is to go out and uplift people, because we're nothing. We're just humans, and those headdresses uplift people. And so I brought mine, and then Stephen Barrios, who is a two-spirit Blackfoot man I think he's 73, turning 73. We're going to dance on Saturday together. And he's the first openly two-spirit that's been transferred one of these stand-up headdresses. And so we'll be there.
When you say transferred, you mean that you're the temporary caretaker, right? Or what does that mean?
No, it's transfer. You can be transferred like Omagustus. It's a crazy dog, a brave dog medicine. You can be transferred to braid sweetgrass. It's like wisdom, knowledge. You can be transferred. So when you are transferred to stand-up headdress, some people say, when I die, this headdress will go to so-and-so. Some people have the headdress buried with them. And it just, when the Europeans first came, they said our women had too much power. They needed to be more subservient. And so the organized religions kind of got rid of them, so there was very few, or they kept their headdresses in the closet. And it's just been in the last 20 years that there's been a reclaiming. And I say 200 because, when I got transferred, we just made a chart, and there was less than 50. And now it's just reclaiming that women life givers are sacred, that life givers are our world, that our grandmothers are sacred, that our mothers, our sisters, our daughters are sacred. And so now everyone who loves their female and now to spirit are transferring a headdress. It's just a term, transfer. You can't just the elders have to watch you all your life and see if you earned it. Then they transfer you.
So there are going to be two of you at the Two-Spirit powwow, or?
Yes. Stephen,
I thought you said something about 12 people or coming.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's the Montana Two-Spirit Society. They're out of Missoula, Montana. Their board and their staff are all coming, and most of them have never been to San Francisco. And so they're landing. Some landed today, and some land tomorrow. But they'll be at the powwow. Renee Holly.
So the powwow is significant, and maybe you could explain that in terms of,
It's the 14th annual. Last year they had 4,000. They're expecting 5,000 this year. From all around, we had Peruvians, we had a lot of Canadians, we had a lot from British Columbia, we had a lot from Hawaii. So it's an international two-spirit powwow. And, some of it's competition, but it's mainly just to celebrate that it's okay to be LGBTQ or two-spirit. And it's the 14th annual, so it's a lot are coming. Yeah, that's I come down just because I'm an ally, not to judge, but to support.
Yeah, I know you've been coming for many years. I always see your pictures, different places.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to say I really enjoyed seeing you today, and you bring a lot of joy and positive energy to the room wherever you are, to the people. So I know that, that's something that you live with, that you practice daily, sharing love, which I think is very, very special and exceptional within the community, that you can do that. And people are always relaxed and enjoy being in your company and sharing all that information with you, which sometimes can be very serious.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, thank you. It's my honor. And I'll say, I'm just an old lady. I'm a badass auntie, but it's time that I kind of wind down. But I was just honored that you asked me to come and speak. And we're just inviting everyone, to come enjoy themselves this week. And then you can go to YouTube. It's free. Type in Native Wellness Institute, and you'll see our whole team. And they have, it's called the Power Hour. They have it on grief and loss, anxiety, on, all kinds of topic areas. And so you'll see our big team. I'm just one member of that team. And co-founder of NWI. Yeah. So, yeah, we just want everyone, especially this next 4 years. We want people to take care of themselves, to have self-compassion, to have self-care. And, I came this week and I'm working real hard, but it's with the intention of letting people heal.
Well, that's good. We need a lot of healing.
Yeah, sister. Well, thank you for inviting me. I got to go back and pack up my stuff there. I said, somebody make me a plate. I haven't even had dinner yet.
All right. Well, I will see you on Sunday. I'll try and get over there and see you all.
Oh, please do. Yeah, Aurora was all, she said, I hope she comes. And I go, I think she is. Yeah, she's going to make her way over here.
Yeah, I will.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Theda, for coming on, and we will see you down the road.
Oh, I love it. They say kita kito matsuno, and that means I'll see you later.
Okay, Doksha.
Okay. All right. Doksha.
Wopila.
No ke ma wish ku ma wish. No ke ma wish ku ma.
This is Janeen Antoine, and you've been listening to Bay Native Circle. Thank you to our engineer, Falcon Molina, and to Diane Williams for the opening prayer. We thank our guests, Lenny Foster and Theda Newbreast. We thank you, our listening audience, for your continued support of Bay Native Circle and KPFA, and appreciate any and all donations of any amount to KPFA. We send a big shout out to our brother Leonard Peltier. We also shout out to our many other brothers, sisters, and two-spirit relatives on the inside, especially those on death row. We send thanks to the Creator, to the indigenous peoples whose lands we occupy, especially the Lijan Ohlone. To our ancestors and to those yet to come, we send blessings. Stay tuned now for Dead to the World.
No ke ma wish ku ma wish. No ke ma wish ku ma wish.
Tune in to KPFA Saturday night, February 1st at 7 p.m. for a special live broadcast of the Funky Latin Get Down with the dynamic Miss Faye Carroll featuring Jose Diaz, presented by Jazzline Institute, marking Bajaba Showcase's 160th live broadcast. This event takes place at Jeffrey's Inner Circle, located at 410 14th Street in Oakland, featuring Joe Warner on piano, Taurus Mateen on bass, Tony Austin on drums, Charles McNeil on alto sax, Randall Fisher on tenor sax, and Daniel Harris III on trumpet. This broadcast again is on Saturday, February 1st, and goes from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on 94.1 FM and kpfa.org. For more information, visit kpfa.org.
Lettucey.
It happens all the time like this. That one person will be right there. And she was just crying. All right, we were getting ready to sing. All right, I hadn't even got the words out. She was already in it. And her eye, she was not too far away, but I just had to tell her to come here. And I held her hand and sang. And I said, see, I had a bad day. I've been performing and I got it all out. and I forget what I do. See, you better remember, this is why you're doing it. You belong here to do this. This is your calling, is to ignite something in people, to let them know that they belong too. It's bigger than me. It always has been bigger than me.
KPFA, storytelling for social change.
This is KPFA, KPFB in Berkeley, and 88.1 KFCF in Fresno.